Hey, it's Ross from the Jiu Jitsu Oracle, and I am joined today by Team Australia over 99 kilogram CJI 2 grappler Belal Etiabari, a name I believe we're going to be hearing a lot more of this year. So I wanted to get him on the pod, have a chat, get his story, and get the thoughts on CJI 2. So, Belal, welcome. Where are you joining me from exactly?
See, it looks like right now, bro. So I'm just based in like Melbourne. So I'm just based in Australia, like at the moment. So I just moved here probably like maybe like 3 months ago. So I just moved here from like New Zealand. Yeah, so yeah, bro. I'm just in like Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah, so for people watching or listening, I'm in Aberdeen, Scotland. Bilal's in Australia. Uh, it's just about 6:30 in the morning, my time. It's, I think, about 3:30 your
Yeah,
time.
it's
Yeah.
3:30. Yeah, bro, it's
Yeah.
3:30 here at the moment.
You've got the better end of the bargain, but I'm just glad to be able to talk to you. Right. So,
Oh,
first off, um, CGI 2, Team Australasia. What's the thoughts heading into the comp now? What do you think? Can you guys do something? Can you
I
maybe
think
cause a shock, win some matches? What's the
yeah,
vibe?
well, yeah, no, but look, the thing is, bro, like as well, like I feel like we got like a very, very strong team, at 66, we got a Fabricio Andre, and then at 77, we got like Levi, and then we got like Lucas at 88, and then like me and Declan at like the heavyweights. So I think like we could probably actually do some damage, and I think people will be starting to maybe like see, look, motherfucking is maybe starting to think that like the thing with our team is like pretty like see, look, motherfucking is pretty kind of like see, look, motherfucking that's pretty kind of like underestimated from like this part of the world. But I think that we could probably do some damage over there. Yeah, like that's what I think. I think we have a pretty like a dangerous team too. Like like in terms of like submissions and like people that like could just do like some good jujitsu out there.
I think it's pretty well put together. I
Yeah,
think it's pretty well put together from the perspective of the competition, from the rule set, from what you guys are going to aim to do. Because if you can win by sub, that's a huge win for your team, right? Under quintet rules. And but also you need a bit of durability in there as well, especially from the lighter guys, I think. So Fabricio's a great addition from that point.
yeah, sure. I think that was like a super smart move from like Lachlan to choose someone like Fabricio, like who's got wins like over guys that are heavy, and he could like potentially, as I think that there's not that many people that'll be able to submit Fabricio. Like he's like a lighter guy, but I don't think there's that many guys in the world that'll be able to submit him. To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I in the UK he competed in a Polaris open weight tournament. And if memory serves me right, under their rules, which is different to the CGI rules, but I think he managed to beat Owen Livesey and Giancarlo Bedoni
Yeah, that's
tournament.
pretty impressive. That's crazy. Yeah, see, like to be guys like that, like those are like top tier guys, and they're like heavier than him. That's very
Yeah,
impressive.
that's what I mean. Not it wasn't submission wins. I think it was like points accrued for takedowns or whatever. But it just shows he can hang at that level with big guys. That was the point. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then obviously you've got Levi in the team who's like at the
Levi is
top end of his division. Yeah. So
Yeah, now the thing with Levi is so good, because the thing with Levi, with like, I see like trains with us at the gym, so he's like very, very good. I think he's one of like the best guys, or I think he's maybe like the best guy in the world. Like from like like from like maybe from the like maybe from like my perspective, I think he's one of like the real like the top tier guys in the world. But like you've seen his performance at the CJI one, and I think that match it was like because the thing with like Levi was playing guard and they gave it to Cade, but I think he's like very, very good. He's one of the best guys in the world. I think. Like very, very like comfortably too. I think he's got the best guard in the world at the moment.
tell us about
Yeah,
training with Levi then and that guard and what it's like to deal with.
Levi is very, very good. Well, I don't even try and play on top too much with him. Like his guard just like super, super like like super, super like hard to pass. So like I play a lot of guard, but his passing is well, like the thing with his passing is like super, super good. I think it's on the same level of his guard, but like people just don't see it in competition.
Yeah. What about it specifically makes we'll talk about the guard first and then the passing, but what is it that makes it so difficult to deal with
He's
from your
just got
perspective?
he's just got the ability to make you like off balance like so quickly. So as soon as you try passing, he just like off balances you. Then his like pummels, and he's like very, very, very flexible. He's very, very good at like just kind of making you just get your hands to the mat. It's hard to pass him. It's very, very hard to pass him, and Yeah, like and then like his attacks, and he chases the back, and he chases the legs. So he's like very, very good. He's another level. Well, like people saw it at the first CJI, and like he didn't even do that much like no gi up until that point. Like he's a gi guy. So and he just showed like that like he came out and he can do like a no gi tournament, and he basically like he got to the final and he did like very, very well.
Yeah. And then that passing that you're talking about, I did
Yeah,
see more of Levi playing guard, so you've seen
yeah,
more
like
of
he's
him
got like
passing than I
very,
have
very
probably.
Yeah, no, see, look, he's got very, very good like pressure passing. Like his passing is like very, very just like sticky. Like it's just like his guard at the end of the day. Like like he's very like stubborn with his grips. If he gets you in a certain position, like he's gonna pass. He's got a good like a lead drag. Yeah, he's got a very, very good guard. Like, yeah, no, because the thing is, but like, is like there was a match that he had on like Polaris, and as there was a match that I was studying, like one of his matches in Polaris, where he versus like Mateus. Yes, and then the thing with that match was like a really, really good match for him to show his passing. Because I don't know if he passed with guard or not, but he showed a pretty good game from top.
Yeah. And then we have Lucas Kennard at under 88. And
Yes, yeah. So I've trained with like Lucas quite a bit too in Sydney. Like it's like not too much, but just when I visit sometimes, because I train with the boys over there sometimes at like Sydney Wrestling Academy. That's like a really, really like a good gym in Australia too. And I train with Lucas quite a bit. He's like really good too. Like he's very, very like similar to Levi because I think they trained like together like back in the day. But I think he's also like one of like the best guys in the world, like in my opinion.
yeah, we got burned a little bit, deservedly so, last time because in the CGI tournament, we predicted Victor Hugo against Lucas would be
Do you
the
know that I told
most
Merlin?
favorable match for Victor. He was
I told
definitely going to
everyone
win.
back home. Yeah, nah, bro, because I told everyone back home, I told them that like it's like Lucas is gonna win this match because I think it was a bad matchup for Victor. And then there was like no one like believing me, and I was watching the match inside the gym, and then as soon as like Lucas won, like everyone was like, "What the fuck?" But then I'm like, bro, that wasn't a surprise to me, like because, bro, fucking, it's like I rolled with him, and like Lucas is one of like the best guys, like.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, maybe, yeah, we can maybe bring you in here on this as well, right? So this is what I was thinking. When this happened with Lucas last time, right? We've seen Lachlan get some amazing submission victories in ADCC where he was the underdog. We saw
yeah,
Craig burst onto the scene, right?
yeah,
With his submission run of the ADCC.
yeah.
What is it with you guys from that part of the world come into the big show and pick up these amazing underdog victories? Like, can we see it again at CGI 2?
Um, yeah, no, well, I'm not sure because it does happen from this side of the world, like you're right, to be honest. But I don't know what it is, but I think it's basically just how, well, it's just how the world kind of thinks that people from this side of the world are not good. Or like maybe it's that, or maybe but talking about maybe the stuff that we're doing here is a bit different. Like when you seen when like Lachlan went out to ADCC, like he used like a different game. Like, yeah, like but talking about it's going to 50-50 and playing K guard, and people hadn't, bro, see look, but people like hadn't been kind of like but Silo Buffon was kind of like exposed to that game before. So like he caught like three guys, which was so impressive, for a smaller dude. He's like, yeah, and then like submitting basically like three world champions. That was like a huge thing. Yeah, no, but I don't know what it is. Like I just think people might just not think that we're like that good from this side of the world, or maybe like we do things differently. So it's hard for them to just try and kind of like calibrate their style to us in a match. Because if they roll with us, then they might pick up stuff. But like when you get put in a match with someone, then I think it's hard to kind of like find a style for that person like straight away. Like you're kind of like put on the spot. Yeah. So like, which I think for like the CJI too, I think that like we had like a bit of an advantage like for that because I think like we bring a few people where like we had like different styles. I think it's pretty hard to pick up just in a match straight away. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. There's a couple of things. I wonder whether the sporting culture that exists in your part of the world, when with guys who've got, I'd be interested to know what your background in sport is, but when you've played, a lot of guys have played other sports, say it's like rugby, football, whatever, right? And it is a big sporting culture, and it's like, and there's a culture of success, and there's a culture of guys not being scared to go in and win. And I just wonder whether that starts to feed into other sports as well, because you're part of the world very good at like all Olympic sports, so
Yeah.
there's definitely like a big sporting culture, and I just wonder if you guys are going to come to Vegas and being like, nah, we can do this, we can do some damage here. You've got the mentality for it.
Yeah, so this thing, because there is like a lot of sports from like, yeah, see, look, bro. See, look, the thing is, bro, see, look, like the thing is, bro, it's like from here. So like we play sports like rugby league. We play a lot of like rugby. They do like a lot of sports from like this part of the world. We have good like football teams and stuff. Like not the best in the world, but they do like yeah, like but they do pretty well. And yeah, like so like yeah, no, like so like the sporting culture like is pretty big from like this side of the world too. Like like it's not like we're countries here like New Zealand and Australia where like kind of like we don't take sports seriously. Like like sports are still played like growing up in schools and like like people do take sports like pretty serious. And you obviously see as like from like the UFC, like we have like a lot of like successful fighters like from this part of the
Exactly.
world
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fighting culture there, you know. Uh,
Yeah, it is.
so it's like in the UK, we've got a strong boxing culture, you know.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's how it is here too. Like,
And those
so I
kinds of
think
things can help.
yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, behind exactly behind. I think in the past few years here, like the like, see, look, behind as a scene for like fighting has grown a lot. It's like a lot of people are getting into the UFC from this part of the world. Where like we have kind of like smaller like populations too, but for the amount of people that we have and the amount of people that are making it to the UFC, I think it's like very, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just I'll come back to that point in a sec, but like let's just run through the other guys on the team. So we've got up to Lucas, right? So we've got
Yeah.
Declan at under 99. I think
Yeah.
he was when I first saw that the team was being put together and that then there was going to be a trials. I thought Declan would make it. Is that
Yeah.
like that? Were you thinking the same? Like that
That's
was
what I
it
thought
was
too, to be honest. So that's what I thought as well. And I know that the thing with Declan, he's like very, very good. Like he's competed at like ADCC Worlds. He's probably like the most, well, kind of like in my eyes, I think he's probably like the best like heavyweight that we have in Australia, like right now. So I think that like he was gonna get through pretty easily. And then off is he look but and then all just like that kind of like second spot, which I think I got pretty lucky to get the decision win over Kai. Like Kai's like very, very good. Like he's placed at trials a few times and stuff. Yeah, but again, and Kai's got a win over me too, which happened maybe like a year, maybe like a year and a half ago. It's like he beat me at like the ADCC trials. So like he was very, very good too. But I just think I just got a bit lucky. Of just like getting like the win over him, like the decision win. Yeah.
so we and then we've got you at the top, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk more about you in a sec, Bilal. We'll get more into your
Yeah.
game, but the trials itself, like, what an opportunity for you. So how did it come about? How did it come your way? And what were you thinking going into it? I mean, did you think you could do it?
Yeah, so like, yeah, so like, yeah, see, look, so like Lachlan had like, see, looks like Lachlan had like messaged me about it, like maybe like, see, look, maybe little, see, look, as the thing is, but maybe like 2, 3 months ago, and he had told me that he's thinking of doing a trials for the CJI team, and this is like when I was back home in New Zealand, and then like he had told me, and then he said that he's going to be doing a trial, and then I found out like once I got here, is there's going to be like a 16-man tournament and a 6-man tournament. Then I think like he was saying that like he was thinking of maybe like putting me on the 16-man tournament because there was like obviously like a lot more guys that are more like deserving of being in the 6-man straight away. Yes, you look both like and then there was a few guys that have gone to like ADCC trials and they've won and stuff, and they didn't like choose to do the trials. Then like Lachlan just thought it would be a good idea to push me up to the 6-man because like he had obviously like seen me roll and he had seen my style and he thought it would be like good fitting for like the CJI tournament, like because I play guard, I do a lot of submissions and stuff, like but then I'm not, but I'm not gonna go out there and just try win by points or whatever. So like he thought that it would be like a good idea for me to just go and then just be in the 6-man tournament, which I felt pretty lucky too. Like like he pushed me straight up, like and then that basically happened, and a few guys they just like didn't choose to do it, and then I got the opportunity, and that's how it happened. And then I think like when I got pushed up to the 6-man, I thought that I had a good chance to go in there and at least like sub a few guys because I thought I was gonna get like more submissions. Like that wasn't like my best, like before that wasn't like my best like showing like of my jujitsu, I think. But at the end of the day, I still got through, which I'm pretty lucky. Like I think I can show my jujitsu to like the rest of the world now, like and show, yeah,
Yeah. So the trials event itself, right? We just had one in the UK, and from my perspective as a viewer, the environments were very, very different. So how did you find Lachlan's trials? What did you think about sort of the way it was put together, etc., on the day? And I don't know how much of the UK one you've seen, but I think it's fair to say there's a bit of a contrast between the two.
Yeah, so the one that like Lachlan did, like the thing with Lachlan, he's very, very like professional and he likes to do everything just kind of like clean cut. Like, he's a very, very like thing, a professional coach and a professional a competitor. Like he likes to just do everything like that, which is like yeah, like like which is like very, very good. So like he built a pit, like he was building a pit in the gym, which that was I think it was so awesome, like it made the matches like so exciting. There was no like resets and stuff. So like that was good. And then the thing is, so like, and then kind of like on the day, like it was pretty good. Like we came in and he said like a rules meeting and he said like all the rules like clearly. And then as the competition just went like, bro, as the competition just went all, bro, just like very, very smooth. Like, you know, as there was like nothing that I think that was too controversial. Like what people were saying is like people were trying to say that it's not good to put the 16-man tournament the same day as the 6-man tournament. Because then the guy that wins the 16-man, like he's obviously gonna be like so tired and he's gonna have to verse like fish guys, which that's fair, I think too. But I think there was no other way that like Lachlan thought that he could make it. Yeah, like you know, because he can't just be spending like weeks to do like one tournament one week, then do another one another week. Yeah, so I think is the way that like he did it like was the most fair, and I think it was like very, very professional. And I think that the world saw that it was a pretty, pretty good event, like you know.
Yeah. It was Kit that came through the tournament, yeah? The first.
Yeah, so Kit actually came through. Like me and Kit were actually training for the past 3 months. So like he came from America back when I first moved here, so like a few months ago, and then like we started training, and we basically just like training partners like for this whole thing. So me, Kit, and Kyle were training too. So there was like three of us like training from the same gym. It was pretty cool.
Is there any way to keep Kit involved with the team somehow? Because all the skits with Lachlan, etc., were so good, and I think his personality is awesome to have around. And he's a,
Kit is a
you know,
legend. Like Kit is a legend in
yeah,
sport. I think like you know.
he
And I
should be
think
like assistant manager or something for your team. You know, like
yeah,
awesome.
nah, like they should, but it'll be cool to see him in the CJI, like even if he has a super fight or something, like you know,
Yeah.
because, yeah, nah, because I think he's pretty close with Craig. Like they both came from Australia, they both started coming up. They were, yeah, like you know, like they were like the two best athletes, yeah, but like and like Lachlan, like you know, like coming up with them, so they like the top three guys. So I think if we could get him into like the CJI, I think it'll be pretty cool somehow.
And like this is the thing I'm thinking, like your position now, right? Because it seems to be in parts of the world where jiu-jitsu expands into. So like, it's happened in Scandinavia, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in Australia slash New Zealand, etc. It's like once one guy breaks through, then you get the generation behind, and then you get the generation behind that, etc. Right? And then the
Yeah.
generations that follow are at that level once other guys have sort of like made the strides and got there, right? So I just wonder now with the likes of Lachlan and then Craig, etc. It's like whether it's a good place for guys like you coming through, because you don't really know any different than like jiu-jitsu being at the level where it is now, right? Where you
Yeah,
are.
because I think I'm pretty lucky. Because yeah, no, because I think I'm pretty lucky. Because like when I moved to Australia, obviously, no, no, because I came to Melbourne like a few times. So like maybe like in the past 2 years, like I came a few times. I've met Lachlan, like, but again, and then the thing is, but it's like straight away, you see, looks like I had a good kind of like a vibe with him. I had a good vibe with him. Then it's like I was talking to him about moving, and he was cool with it. He said, "Yeah, come over, you know, then I can train." So I'm basically just training full time right now. I'm training under him, and he's like a very, very good coach, obviously. And to have guys who like see look, yeah, see look, but like, and like guys like him and Levi in the gym to kind of like look up to and be like motivated by, it's very awesome. Like, you know, yeah, see look, so those like grapplers that have came up, they're kind of just like paving the way for people like me that are just like starting to kind of like hit that like new level, like you know. So I'm pretty lucky.
Big point in the pod, maybe Bilal, just to flag up. Then, if you're all in on jiu-jitsu,
Yeah,
are you available for seminars, sponsorships, etc.?
as I will be available for seminars and sponsorships. Yes, I will be. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Good. I think it's worth flagging up. It's like you're out there trying to do your thing. You need to, help.
Yeah.
If companies want to get
Yeah,
involved
exactly.
with you, you're
A
available.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, nah. See, well, look, so that's the only thing with jujitsu because I actually finished uni. See, look, so like I finished my degree in construction engineering, and then I took up like jujitsu full time. Yeah, so I think I can make a lot more money like doing like engineering, but I just like love jujitsu, and I just love see, look, but I just kind of just like yeah, but I just kind of like love training. I love competing, but I think it's good to have competitions out there where like Craig is starting to like put up money for people, and he's starting to actually like take care of the athletes. So I hope like all the see, look, yeah, but there's like all these other competitions will start to do the same. Then I think that there's like people could actually have a career like in competing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like Craig and Lachlan in different ways have done so well to further themselves from their competition wins. Like they've seen, and you'll know more a lot about Lachlan's setup, and then like Craig's sort of omnipresent on the internet, so we see a lot of him. But they've found ways to, it seems, make good living from jiu-jitsu, not just relying on competition.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like Lachlan, I think he's probably the most successful, I think he's probably like the most successful person that sells instructionals, I think, or like, or but fucking, yeah, but fucking, or like maybe there's someone else, but I don't know. But like to my knowledge, I think he's probably like the most successful. Yeah, so I think he makes a pretty like a good living off that. And then he's obviously like an instructor and stuff too, he teaches jujitsu like every day.
Yeah.
And then like Craig, obviously, he's Craig, he's got like, but fucking, I think he's probably got maybe like the biggest name in the community right now, like for jujitsu. So like
Yeah.
people that don't even do jujitsu, they watch Craig, they follow Craig, So I think he's got a pretty big name up there too.
Yeah. I think maybe like Danaher and Gordon as well, would be, like at the top end of instructionals, but I think Lachlan's carved out like an amazing, no, first off, like a sort of amazing sort of niche based on like how he was able to win at ADCC. Then people got really interested in the K guard, etc. And then off that, he's
Mhm.
built like the sub meta platform and everything, right? And it's like a very professional approach to delivering content. So I think that's where he's like really
Yeah,
succeeded
like
there.
very, very impressive with the way that he drops his like stuff on like Submeta. I think it's like a very, very good platform. I think it's good for like anyone that wants to learn jujitsu, like whether like you're starting out jujitsu or whether you're like a high level competitor. I think it's a good platform.
All right, so let's take a couple of steps back, Bilal. Right, so we're now at the point where you're immersed in grappling, right? Um, what's that like? Are we talking 5 years from starting, something like that now?
So I think it's just been 4 years now. So I started
Four
year
years.
one in like May. So like 4 years. Like basically I just hit 4 years. Yeah.
It's 4 years from starting jiu-jitsu to getting into CJI 2, yeah?
Yeah.
And then how did jiu-jitsu start? What did you do before it sports-wise? And then why did you start doing jiu-jitsu?
So sort of like before jujitsu, like growing up when I was young, I started playing like rugby league. So I played for a club. I started playing like rugby league when I was pretty young. I was maybe like 7, 8 years old. And then I stopped playing. So then I went to high school. I stopped playing around like 14, 15 years old. And then after that, then I started playing like basketball, like around high school. And then I started uni and I still started playing basketball. So like I was still, yeah, so I was still playing basketball at that point. Then I think when I was around like, I think I was around maybe like, I think I was maybe around maybe like 19, 20, and then I just stopped playing sports. Then I found jujitsu when I was, so back in like 2021, I was probably like 21 at the time. Oh no, because I was like before my birthday. So I think I was 20 still. And then I started jujitsu at that point. So I went with like one of like my good friend. So I went with his brother to just like a session. And then I just had a roll with some guy, like he was like some blue belt. And then like he just like smashed me, like like he submitted me like so many times. And yeah, but fucking and then like ever since then I kind of just like fell in love with it. Yeah, no, but like since like I was growing up, I was playing like rugby, I was playing like all these sports that were kind of physical. I kind of had a thing for like grappling. Yeah, yeah, no,
So
like
you're,
most I kind
I was like, you're from New Zealand.
yeah, so I'm
Is
from
that
New
right?
Zealand, but I'm from
Yeah.
Afghanistan. So like I was born in Afghanistan. I moved to New Zealand with my family when I was young. I was probably maybe like a year old. So I basically just like grew up in like NZ.
Yeah. And why league over union in New Zealand?
Well, me personally, I just didn't like the rocks because I just thought it was like very dirty. I thought people would stomp on my head. I kind of just like a rugby league because it was clean and you could like play the ball and the team gets like a certain amount of positions and then like the next team gets the ball. Yeah, no, like you know what I mean. So like I think it was a bit like fast paced.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
like league is New Zealand has a good league team, and I enjoy watching New Zealand play Australia at league, and seeing UK in there as well, because it's pretty much like three teams that can, you know, possibly win a World Cup at league. Right? Usually Australia every time, maybe New Zealand will like spring a surprise now and again, and sometimes like England or whatever from the UK will get through, right? So there is league happening in New Zealand, but just union's so big. I don't think people watching the pod who don't really know uh, much about the rugby union culture in New Zealand will know just how big it is. It's
Yeah.
it's
Now there's a
ridiculous.
lot of like rugby union teams. They're like obviously like like they got like all like the smaller teams like the Blues and they got the Crusaders. But I haven't followed it for a long time. Like so like I don't even know if these teams still exist or like what's going on with like the rugby scene. But back in the
So
days, as I remember, there was the Blues and all those teams. So yeah,
yeah,
there's a few teams, and then for like rugby league, like we basically just have the Warriors.
yeah. But are so I'm interested in athletes who are successful in a sport and then or sports, and then ultimately pick one, and that's what they focus on. So when you were playing rugby league, what kind of level were we talking? Did you play just for your school, or were you starting to get picked for teams like, you know, states or whatever? Because I'm interested in like how good an athlete you are and whether you're channeling that now into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because I was playing at a level like it wasn't like a national level where I was getting picked for kind of like the national squads or whatever, but I was playing at a level that was pretty decent. Like I was playing for like my team in high school. Yes, but like, and then I was playing for like a club as well, like you know what I mean? And then in the summertime I'll be playing touch and tag. Like I don't know if you guys have that over there. Yeah, no, but the level like it wasn't like super, super high, but I don't think like to be honest, is I don't think that I'm like some like special like athlete or something that I'm gifted with like all these talents. But I just think I've been playing sports since like a young age, and obviously like did help me as like pick up skills like when I started like jujitsu. I think.
Yeah. So how quickly did you start doing a lot of jiu-jitsu? Because time on the mat matters. Yeah.
So when I
You
started
must have
training,
crammed a lot in.
so when I started training in my first year, so like in 2021, if I remember, I started competing. So like after 2 months, so like after 2 months is I think I did a comp. So that was maybe in like July or June of like 2021 as I did a comp and I won my first match. And then I think I got submitted in the second match, and I think that was the final. Like there was only maybe like 4 or 5 people like in the bracket. Yeah, see, look, brother, fucking, yeah, but like, and then like after that, and then I think I competed again, maybe like 3 or 4 months after that, like you know, because I just like, but like, as like the competition like aspect of things. Yeah, but again, and then I competed in the gi actually, and I just got smoked. It was like some guy just beat me by maybe like 10-0 or maybe like 12-0 or something. And I just lost that. And then after that, then I was kind of like thinking, oh, now like the jiu-jitsu even fun or is it even good? Like, you know, because I just kept like losing. Like I only won like one match. Then after that, I think then like the lockdown happened. And then once the lockdown happened around like 2021, I think it was like the end of like 2021, I think, if I remember clearly. Yeah, but fucking, and then I started training at home, like with my coach. So like my coach, like see, looks like my coach, like back in Auckland, like Abdulaziz. So like he's like a very, very good dude, and he helped me a lot, like with my jujitsu. So like he started training with me, and he was starting to come to my house. So like during like the lockdown, like you weren't allowed to train, bro. So then like he would come to my house and he would train me like for hours, and I would just learn, and I got a better guard at that point. Yeah, yeah, but fucking, and then I think it's like, and then I think it's like, and then I think it's like, but fucking, yeah, but fucking, and then I think it's like that was when like the first time I started to play with like leg locks. Like I was doing like leg locks and stuff like pretty early. Then yeah, and then after that, then I just started like training like more and more. And like 2022, I think I started training more. Like some days I train like twice a day. I'll find like other gyms to train at. I'll like cross train. Then slowly, slowly after that, so I kind of just like started slow and then just started training more and more and more and more like each year. I think.
So we're still in New Zealand at this point, right?
Yeah.
And then did you decide to make a trip over to Australia to?
Yeah, so I think the first ever time I came to Australia was in, I mean, well, the first ever time I came for like a trip to like train was in 2023. So I came to Sydney for a bit. I think like one of like me and my mates, like we went to Sydney for a bit. I trained at like Sydney Wrestling Academy. It was the first time I met the boys. So then I went there and then I trained with the guys there, and I just felt that it was like a different level here where the guys were smashing me. They were like blue belts. They were like beating me up, and like you know what I mean. And I just felt like I was like, oh, so, you know, it's like the level here was good. And I think I was a purple belt at that point. I got my belt like pretty quick. Yeah. So then like their blue belts were like beating me up and stuff. I was like, fuck yeah, like you know, bro. Look, like yeah, bro. Look, the thing with these guys are like a different level here.
Yeah.
Then I think I came to Melbourne like straight after that too. And the first time I came to Melbourne, yeah, nah, like Lachlan, as I don't think he even like noticed me to be honest. The first time I came. Then I just started training. I was still getting like beaten up by even like the blue belts here in Melbourne at that point in like 2023. Then I think it's like when I went back home like that time. Yeah, see, look, and then I think is that's when I started taking it like a bit like more serious. I started training like more and more. Yeah, but like, and then I'll be training maybe like twice a day, like regularly. Yeah, so like at that point, so like once I came here and then I felt the level of the guys here, I was like, oh, like you know, bro, look, I think that these guys are like so far, yeah, like you know, but fucking is like, see, look, yeah, bro. The thing is, but fucking, they were just like so far ahead of like New Zealand.
Yeah. No,
So
that's really interesting that like you're now at the point where you're going to be competing at the biggest grappling event in the world this year,
Yeah.
2025. And you're telling me it was only 2023 where you're still getting a hard time from the blue belts in Australia.
Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Well, that's how it was, and that's what like yeah, and that's what like Lachlan says. Like he says like your growth, like how you just like changed your game. Oh, so quick. Yeah, yeah, but I don't even know to be honest. I just started training more and more. I started to like watch like more and more jiu-jitsu. I just started to like fall in love with it more.
Yeah. So are we talking like now this is the point where you start to get even more consumed by it? And like, how many hours are you spending, not just on the mat training, but watching, studying, etc., work around jiu-jitsu, maybe in the gym, like lifting or whatever? Like, how big a part of your life is this sport now at that point, 2023-ish?
Oh, sure. 2023. And also, I'll mention that that's when I like graduated from like uni as well. So I graduated, and then as soon as I finished my last exam was actually when the see look certain thing is but I finished like my last exam I think in June 2023, and then I booked my flight to come here for a trip.
Yeah.
Then at that point, yeah, but like and then like at that point it's like when I went back home as I didn't have much to do, like you know what I mean? But because I didn't want to work, I just wanted to just train. Then at that point, as I just started training full time, and then yeah, see looks so basically just started like lifting weights, just started just taking it like a bit more serious.
So what uni were you at? This was in New Zealand.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was at like see look so like I was at like Auckland like see look it's like Auckland like University of Technology, so like AUT.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's just keep the timeline right. So you're at uni at some point when you decide to start doing jiu-jitsu, yeah? So it must have been like
Yes.
halfway through your degree or whatever, yeah?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then you've got to the end of your degree and you're starting to go to Australia for training, and then you've decided to jump over. So how do you make that switch? Because this is I find interesting as well. You know, in a
So
sport that we do where there's not a lot of finance available, etc. Like, you know, trying to get access to like elite training environments like Lachlan would have, etc. is difficult, right? We can make trips, but actually like getting in there and spending a lot of time there can be challenging. So how have you managed to do that?
yeah, so the time that I decided to move, so when it came to like 2024, I was like my coach like back home in like New Zealand, like he kind of forced me to do the trials. He made me just like sign up, and then like someone had like sponsored me to pay for my flights and stuff to go. So then I got pretty lucky. Yeah, so then like when I went to the trials, I don't think that I was even but fucking as kind of training like see look yeah, but it's kind of training like as hard as the guys for trials were training. Then like when I went to the trials, I think I did like decently well. Where like I beat a pretty good, I think it was a black belt from like here from like Australia, and then I beat him, like I submitted him. Then that's when I lost to Kaya as well. And then I kind of realized that if I actually try a bit harder and I train a bit harder, then I think that I could actually be like a bit good. Yeah. So then like when I went back home, like straight after the trials, then I started training a lot more. And then from that point, that whole year, like in New Zealand, so that's when I had maybe like 50, see looks like the thing is see looks at that. Yes, so I think I had maybe like 50 matches, and there was like no one that beat me. Yeah, bro. So like I submitted like everyone like in 1 year, and then after that, and then I realized there's no point of me staying here. Like you know what I mean? I think my level had just like surpassed the level that I was there.
Does that happen so quick though? You know, did you just like find part of the jiu-jitsu game that worked really well for you in competition? Were you like more into legs, for example, than other guys? Or like how's it gone from like where you were like getting hard time off blue belts to Australia to then just like dominating the comp scene in New Zealand and submitting everyone? Like what's the
Yeah,
switch there?
yeah, no, well, I just think that I just took advantage of what like my body was like. So like I'm pretty flexible for like a bigger dude. So I think like me playing guard, I think it's a bit more natural. So I think that that helped obviously. Yeah, see what looks like that, and then also just like studying all these guys. Just yeah, see look, but I'm just starting to like roll with like better guys. I started to roll with like Lucas. I started to roll with like Levi. Then yeah, like you know, see looks just training with them, just like picking up like small techniques that they're doing. I just started just like stealing it, just kind of like adding it to my game.
It seems to like when you notice something then, when you're exposed to it, when you train it, it becomes part of your game pretty quickly then.
Yes,
So you
yeah,
feel
it
like
does.
does it sound like you've had a huge struggle over years to implement certain things that now work for you really well? It's
Yeah,
like you've got an aptitude for it.
yeah, my yeah, because especially because like when you roll with guys like Levi and you roll with guys like Lucas and you roll with guys like Lachlan, I think that for me, because the thing that those guys are like very, very flexible, their bodies, like, yeah, like, but I mean, they're like very, very strong, like all of them too. But I think for me to get parts of their game and put it into my game, because I think that I had like similar kind of like a body type, a body structure to them. Yeah, it seems looks like for me to do, seem looks like for me to do like their moves is not like too hard, I must say.
Yeah. I think I have an idea as well that when you roll with people who are better than you, when you train with people who are better than you, there's some sort of transference that happens when then the next people you roll with are a lot easier.
Yeah,
It's kind of like we
it's
just
so
like take in parts of the game that we're really exposed to and almost start doing it. And then we can keep that going. So if you're exposed to that a lot and you're experiencing that a lot, then it just stays with you, right? So it's training with those guys seems to have massively helped you that
yeah,
way.
season looks like that kind of happened. And then as soon as I went back to New Zealand, like after like my first few trips here in Australia, then I just felt like my level had just gone up like so much more. Like, just like training with these guys, just seeing like what they're doing. And yeah, like, just kind of like learning stuff off them, just kind of like asking questions about sort of moves that I do that they do as well, but they obviously do it at like a better level than me. Then just like taking like small, small details and just starting to like understand that there's more of a depth to these techniques than like I know.
And you were competing a lot at the time, yeah? Someone jumped into our comments and said it might have been after you'd won, but yeah, they weren't surprised that you'd won the CJI 2 spot. And we were asking, like, how do you know them? And said, oh, we know him from New Zealand. And right away, he was like heavy into competition. And I wonder
Yeah,
whether you getting into that's really helped.
that's yeah, no, see, look, that's the other thing that people always ask is like, how do you get good quick? But if I think it's kind of, bro, if I can, the thing is, bro, see, like the thing is, bro, if I can, as people think that it's kind of like the cliche thing to say, but I think like you do need to like, bro, if I can, has had a lot of like competition experience, like to get good fast as well. Yeah, so I think I've had like so many matches, See, looks at like I've kind of like, see, looks at like I've kind of like lost count, like but I'm sure I've had more than like 150 matches, like since I've been training.
Yeah. So what's your current situation now? Are you training at Lachlan's gym like full
Yeah,
time
see,
basically?
yeah, see, look, so now I'm just training with like lockdown like full time. So basically just like once a day sometimes or like twice a day sometimes. And then it depends like the days I'm lifting or I'm not lifting. I'll be training like twice a day. So yeah, Steve looks at basically Steve looks at just like training here full time and then just kind of just like living off savings at the moment. And I also have my wife here, like Steve looks like she helps me a lot. So like she moved with me too. So yeah.
Well, like we said before, you're available for seminar sponsorships, etc. So you
Yes,
know,
I am. Please hit me up.
jump on Team Belal before he blows up. This are we gonna? So going into CGI 2, what is going to be your preparation for it? What are you guys doing down under? Are you guys, a lot of you guys train together anyway, so it's not going to change too much, or what's the approach, do you think?
Um, so it's only like me and Levi that are in like Melbourne at the moment. Lucas trains in Sydney. It's quite away from Melbourne, so we're not like super super close. But I'm gonna just try train with everyone to be honest. Like yeah, nah. But like I don't know what like the other guys are doing or like what's
So
going
you've
on.
got Declan B team, yeah? So he'll be
Yeah, I think
pretty much.
Declan is yeah. But I think he's from Australia too. I think he's from maybe. I think he's from like South Australia, maybe like Adelaide. I'm not sure about like all these places in Australia, like but I think he's from like Adelaide, but I'm not sure.
Mhm. But yeah, but he'll be, I guess, spending most of his time in the States, and then you've got Fabricio on the team as well. But so it's pretty much all of the guys that are on the team. You and Levi train a lot, and then maybe Lucas isn't too far away. Well, a little
Yeah,
bit away 'cause it's a big country, but you know what I mean. Maybe
yeah.
he's still in Oz as well, and then you've got the other guys. So, but you get direct contact with Lachlan every day, yeah,
Yeah, like
pretty
training with
much.
Lachlan is amazing. So like he always just tells me like stuff that I'm doing wrong, and I've already like fixed my game so much. It's like since like see look, just like since like being with him for 3 months. Yeah, he looks like I think just like being with him for another year, like another 2 years. I think it's gonna make my game like so so good. Like this whole time, like I've trained with good coaches back in Auckland, like still like obviously. But I think just like training with a coach that just like takes like jujitsu like very very serious, that's like compete at the highest level. Yeah, so I think it's going to be like a game changer for me, I think.
Yeah. So that's maybe because I think what's interesting chatting to you here about your progression. Hopefully, guys are picking up parts that have really helped you. And then, so like finding a good coach is
Yeah.
a huge piece of the jigsaw, right? And
Yeah, so
you're really benefiting from Lachlan.
yeah, so like I've always had good coaches, to be honest. You know, like I've always had coaches that kind of like believe in me, they think that I can become good. They put in a lot of like well, how can I say, put in like a lot of like time towards me. Like, you know, see, it looks like all my coaches back home. So like my coach I just mentioned before, like Abdulaziz, similar to like he runs like a good gym in like central Auckland, and then I also had a coach Simi. So like a few good coaches, they've always been training me like since I've been like a blue belt, since I've been a white belt, and they've always given me like good advice, like, you know, so like it's a credit to them too, because they were like obviously like, you know, because they've obviously been like black belts for a long time. But it's hard in New Zealand because there's not that many like athletes that they can train to a higher level. But they like obviously like they gave me like a lot of help.
Yeah. Um. So Lachlan, do you think he's the ideal guy? I mean, you're going to say yes, but like he seems to me, watching on, like the ideal guy to have in charge of a team for this event. I think he's very meticulous in how he approaches things, and I'm not surprised that he's put together a very good roster.
Yeah, well, I think like in my opinion, there's no one that could have taken up their spot. There's no one even close, in my opinion, as they could have taken up their spot from this part of the world. Like I think that it was gonna be Lachlan, and there was no, like, you know, and there was no like debate. We're from like all these other places like Europe. Like there's a few guys that could become coaches, or people from like America. They've got like a few good coaches over there too. But I think for us, I think it's just like Lachlan. Like he's like, but it's like, but yeah, yeah. But the thing with him, but like, is he was like the top guy like for this job. I think.
Yeah, and for you, I forgot to ask. You've got this event. Your next kind of goals competition wise outside of it? Then are you going to be looking to do ADCC trials, etc.,
Yes,
and
I'm
then
gonna do
try?
like yes, I'm gonna do like the 82 trials in the end of the year. Yeah, but fucking, and then I don't know when like the Nogi Worlds is because I might be clashing around that time. But I want to do like the Nogi Worlds as well, and then just do a bunch of super fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm kind of done just like competing at like these like smaller tournaments that I've been doing for like my whole time coming up in jiu-jitsu. Like I don't think it's worth it
Yeah.
for me like anymore. But now I just kind of just want to just do like those bigger type of tournaments like ADCC trials and do some super fights and do like the Nogi Worlds and yeah, like you know, and just do tournaments like that.
And so trials wise, are you going to be? Is it like the Australasia, Oceania, Asia
Yeah.
kind of trials, or can you get access to Europe, Middle East, Africa then as well? Like you said, you're
Nah,
originally from
because the thing
Afghanistan, or
Nah, because the thing with the Afghanistan passport, so that still falls under Asia. So I'm pretty, yeah,
right, okay.
yeah, but so like I'm pretty like unlucky because I've got two passports that, yeah, no, but like, that, yeah, no, but like you know, but they both fall under like the same region.
Yeah, so you'll be in the Asia, Australasia trials
Yep,
where trying to make it to ADCC. And
yep,
then, yeah, let's just look at the CGI2 finals. What are you thinking heading into that? You know, there's a few continental teams, and then you
yep,
know there's a few gym teams. So, like,
yep.
where do you think right now, from what you've seen, your team kind of stands
So you
in the
see what looks
running?
so see what looks so like the thing with the teams that are in there. See, so there's like New Wave, there's like B Team, um, uh, and
Atos,
oh yeah, and there's like Atos,
10th Planet.
there's 10th Planet, and then like the rest is all like the regional teams, eh?
Yeah, so as far as I know, it's yeah, New Wave, B Team, Atos, 10th Planet are all kind of confirmed from what I've seen. And there's a fifth gym team that's not been announced. And we're wondering who that will be. And then you've got
Mm.
you guys, Australasia, we've got Team Europe that was just announced at the weekend, and then we've got Team Americas that Greg Souders is putting together. And we know DeAndre Corby is going to be on that. So we're starting to see the teams kind of come together. Um, but yeah, as we head into the event, what are your kind of thoughts on where Australasia are and what you guys can kind of do relative to what you've
Um,
seen so far?
yeah, well, like the thing is, bro, fucking, it's like I think that like we have the team that's the most kind of like, bro, fucking, is the most kind of like the most like dangerous team that I think that we possess like one of like the most dangerous teams. Because like first like going into these events, because I was speaking to like Lachlan about it, and I was telling him. that for this rule set is like, in my opinion, as bro, I think that is like the European team was going to be like the most dangerous because they were going to have, I think maybe because they were going to have like Owen Jones, who's very good. They were going to have like Shazinski, who's probably maybe like the best like 77 kg like submission grappler. But like, and then there was gonna be like Taylor, and there was gonna be like O'Flanagan. So like, I thought that their team, like for this rule set, like was gonna be like very, very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Then I think a few of the guys got injured, a few other guys didn't do it. So I think like for like the rest of these teams, they obviously like bro, fucking these teams are like bro, fucking is like bro, fucking is the thing with B team and like New Wave, they sound like the best teams in the world, like so like they're like obviously still like up there. But like in my opinion, as I thought that like the European squad was gonna have like a very, very good team where they were gonna have guys that were like gonna be like all like submission hunters and kind of like similar to us, I think.
Yeah. So you're seeing yourselves, if I remember, if I rephrase this correctly, you're saying we're one of the most dangerous teams.
Yeah,
That's
so
your
what I
opinion.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
Yeah.
And you can obviously see it where we have guys like Levi and like Lucas. And like in my opinion, as I think they're the two best like guard players, like yeah, like
Yeah. And you play guard very, very well for a bigger guy, right, Belal? So
huh? Well,
you play
that's
guard
bro,
very,
like
yeah, that's all right. You play guard very, very well for a big guy as well. So I think
yeah,
that's
well,
going to be the vibe in the team, maybe.
yeah, exactly. And then yeah, but like and then the thing is, and then like we have like Fabricio, he's very, very good. Like he's obviously like beaten like some big, big dudes. And then like we have Declan, bro, he's so amazing. He's got like great passing, like like someone like the best passing out there, like at the moment, I think.
Yeah. So you guys, and do you know, is it going to be a straight like knockout with the teams, like an 8-team bracket?
To be honest, I wouldn't know way, but I think it's
Because that's what I'm thinking though. Like the only thing I'm thinking about, right, is like we get teams coming in from all over the world, right, and it's a quintet setup, etc. And I would like to see guys getting the chance to compete, right? So it's like if you get a tough match, if your team gets a tough match or another team gets a tough match, and then within that match, the way the cards fall, it's difficult for a grappler to get on, or one grappler runs the table with another team or whatever, then
man.
that's not a great position to be in, right? Whereas like you see the Soccer World Cup, teams go, there's a group stage first, they get 3 matches, they're guaranteed that, and then they progress into the knockout or whatever. I'm just thinking like it would be nice if the teams coming in from all over the world, because it's going to be such a big event, if every grappler gets a chance to at least show something, And I wonder if the format can be adapted to help that.
Yeah, but I think it's a hard thing too as well, because I think like a team event like means that it could be like a very, very like a long day too. So I think it'll be hard to put like everyone else who is like kind of like a
We've got the
stage.
weekend, maybe.
Yeah,
The weekend, right? But I understand the group stage might be difficult. I just fear, like, I'm hoping that everyone who's involved gets a chance to show something. That's all I'm saying. Like, you guys coming all the way from Australia, hopefully we get to see, like, every grappler get to do something in the event, right? You know what I mean? 'Cause I think the quintet rule format can sometimes be a bit difficult for that happening,
Yeah, because exactly like because if you have someone like very, very good in the team, they take out a whole team. And it's very, very possible with bro, like as with like anyone in the world, I think, it's like anyone can take out a whole team, like, So
Yeah.
like that could happen and you might not get a chance to see someone. But the thing is, but at the end of the day, then I think then like when like you move on to the next round, then I think it's hard for there's like one guy to take out 2 teams and they don't even let their whole team compete, like, Yeah, but if they do that, then the other guys in the team will be happy, they'll just be sitting there, like, oh yeah, look like this guy just like running it for us.
Yeah. Maybe you don't have to do much and you end up getting 200 grand into the bank
Bro,
account.
that would be awesome, bro. That would be awesome.
But yeah, I think you guys are well placed to like, you know, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's going to be a shock this time around though. That's what I'm saying. Like, because there's been too many grapplers from the Australasia region that have done this sort of thing before. So like, I don't want to say cause a surprise, but I wouldn't sleep on you guys. Is what I'm saying basically.
Yeah, no, but I think from what happened last time, there was obviously like Lucas and even like Levi got to the final. So I don't think people will be like sleeping on us like that. Like, while yeah, no, bro, if I can as well, yeah, but if I can, as well, like maybe on me, because like no one knows me. But at the end of the
Wow,
day,
this is it though, Bilal. You've got guys from Scotland messaging you going, "Do you want to come on the podcast for a chat? Because we need to learn more about you." So I think
yeah,
you're going to be better known at the end of all this. Way better knowing than you are right now, maybe, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to stay a surprise for that long.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to touch on regarding the event, or like anything glaring that I've missed regarding like your time in jiu-jitsu so far that's worth flagging up?
Not really, I think I've said everything, eh? That's the most I've ever said actually.
Um, I'll take that as a compliment for the interview skill that
Yeah, bro, you're
you know.
good at.
Nah, it's been a nice chat, Bilal. I'm really happy that you agreed to speak to me, and I hope that people have learned a bit about you, how you've come up, and then I hope that people have learned a bit more about the Australasia team heading into CJI 2. And I just think this event's going to be absolutely massive. And I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if more people are hitting you up for chats and stuff like that, because I think it is the one thing in 2025 that's really going to get people interested in grappling.
yeah, no, because there's no like ADCC this year, so I think it is probably gonna be like the biggest tournament or like the biggest competition that's gonna happen, because like I don't know what else is happening in Vegas for jiu-jitsu. Because they're probably gonna have because they said they have the Masters like Worlds or something going on at the same time. Yeah, there was some
Before.
yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, but I don't know if that's like as big as this, it's probably not like
Oh no, like the
no.
advantage. I think Craig said the advantage of World Masters being the week before CGI 2 is like you're going to have a lot of sort of like divorced dads with disposable income in the city looking to buy tickets for an event. So
Yeah, bro. From what
yeah, this is like by far and away the biggest event, and like the way Craig promotes it, I think puts it way above everything else. There's nothing when we put out content. There's nothing really outside of Gordon Ryan that provokes as strong an interest as CGI. So it is the biggest event of the year by far.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like Craig, he's bro, but like he's like a marketing genius. I think he's like paving a way for like grapplers, to start making money, but if I can and to start having like personalities kind of like outside their jujitsu as well. Like when you're good at jujitsu and you have a good personality, then I think,
Yeah,
like it just like builds like a good platform for you, like, to start
yeah.
making money, start getting sponsorships and stuff like that.
Let's just finish on that because he's the main man. It's his name on the tournament. What's your have you had any experiences training with Craig, meeting Craig, etc.?
So I trained with him back. See, looks like back in Auckland actually, maybe like 3 years ago. So I trained with him. So like he came down to like CKB, so like at like City Kickboxing, where like Israel Adesanya and like Dan Hook and like all those guys train. And I think he came down to house maybe like Israel Adesanya. Yeah, but fucking and then like my friends as they texted me, but fucking and they said, oh, it's like Craig Jones is here but fucking it's like do a class or something. And I was like, hey. But fucking, and I just like went straight in my car and I went and trained because I was looking up to Craig a lot too, like he was like a good like leg locker. I got like a lot of his moves. Then I just went there and I trained and he was a good dude. Like, he's like a very, very good dude. He was very, very nice with his knowledge. Like he would just like share his knowledge to everyone. And then I think that was like the only time that like I ever trained with him. But like, and I've actually got a photo with him too, like, pretty cool. And then like a few years later, like I'll be competing at his event. So that's kind of like a full circle moment.
Yeah, and just this is another thing I forgot to bring up just as you mentioned it, but like you're mentioning a lot about going to other gyms and
Yeah.
training with other top guys. How big's the cross training environment there? And actually like not just cross training amongst jiu-jitsu guys, but you're saying you're going to wrestling clubs, you're training with MMA guys. Like is your experience of grappling quite wide then?
Yeah, so the gyms that I was training at, so like I'd basically be going to like a few gyms. So like my main gym was like a Dormito of BJJ. Yeah, see, so like I'll be training there, and then I'll be training at like Tukaha, but fucking, and then I'll be training at like City Kickboxing. So like with all like the kind of like the she looks at like all like the fighters, and there'll be sometimes like the but fucking it's like the UFC guys would be there too. So like it was a good environment at like all those gyms. But I would just go there to just like practice like my own game. So like I'd still just be doing like jujitsu. So like I wouldn't go there to do striking or to focus on just my kind of like but fucking just kind of like my wrestling and stuff. Like I'll still just be doing my jujitsu, but just kind of going like in a way where I can just like train with like different bodies and train at like different times and stuff.
No, I just think that might be another big thing in helping your development. you know?
Yeah, well, the thing with that is a big thing because I trained at like probably like 3, 4 gyms like consistently for maybe like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
but I don't think some people like it, like like cross training or whatever. Yeah, no, but like I just took it as a way, but like the thing with me, but back in Auckland, is there was like not that many gyms that train full time, so like I needed to go to a different gym in the morning, then go to a different gym at night, and train with different people, get different bodies and like different looks and stuff.
yeah, and but now you're like, do you still bounce around, or do you find that you get what you need from
Well, like
these
here at the
gyms?
moment, I'm only training at Absolute. Like, there's a few other gyms where like I have friends and stuff, but I don't do like serious training there. Like the only place that I actually do train is at like Lachlan's at like Absolute. Then there's like a few other gyms, but I don't go there too much to be honest. This is like my only gym that I'm training at here. Yeah, nah. But like the thing is, but like here, but like I do want to travel around like Australia and go train at like different gyms at like different parts.
Yeah. Um. Well, thanks very much for taking time out of your day. I guess you got a training session away to happen, do you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be going training around 6:30, so I'll still go about 2 hours. I'll probably just like eat something, just chill for a bit, then go training.
Jiu-jitsu lifestyle.
Jiu-jitsu lifestyle, awesome, man. But I'm gonna do it, bro, probably until I'm sick of it, and then as soon as I'm sick of it, I'm probably gonna stop training. You know,
Yeah.
you know, to do something like when you love it, like and I think this whole time I've just been so passionate about it that I just like love training and stuff. Yeah, like so like the day that I wake up and I'm sick of it, I'll just stop training.
Well, hopefully that's not before we've seen the best of you in competition, Bilal.
No way,
Hopefully we
no
get
way.
to see you on the mats at CJI too. And like you
Yeah.
said, don't sleep on the Australasia team. I think you're one of the most. I agree. Like, there's definitely some danger to that team.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good team. In terms of the style as well, that like you need in CJI, I think it's a very, very good team.
Well, thanks, Bilal. I'll do a formal goodbye on the podcast now. So thanks for watching and listening. And remember, watch Bilal at CGI2 and hook him up for seminars and sponsorships. And tune back into the Jiu Jitsu Oracle for more content on CGI2. We're aiming to be the place to come to for the big build up to that event.